And then we came up on this hill to where we are sitting here amongst these trees. And he showed me this flatness down the bottom, and he says, if I were given a chance to do something for this place as an artist, what would I do? And I grabbed some idea that I had been entertaining probably, I can't remember. And I told him that I'd like to make some big black rocks in the landscape. They must look like they had fallen out of the night sky. And a few of these would be good. So I wanted to bring homage to the Vredefort asteroid, because it's about talking about prehistory and things that had happened so long ago that had a direct impact on the way we are shaped, what we eat and who we are, how we think even, and how we exist today as human beings. I want to tell the story of us in nature. How did we get here? What caused it? And in the cradle, it's not called a cradle for nothing. The cradle tries to tell that story. It's the myth of how we, once upon a time, we all spoke the same language. That's in the story of Babel. And then we were confused and we all started speaking different languages. There's a kind of clearing in the forest here, and I put some rocks in this clearing, rocks from the cradle, more specifically rocks from Sterkfontein. Sterkfontein is 7 kilometers from where we are, and that's where Mrs. Pless was found, the lady with a broken skull. And these stones that I put here is to sort of say you're in a special place. I try and invoke a little bit Stonehenge, all those stone circles of Great Britain that were put there about 5, 6, 7,000 years ago. The fossils were formed a few million years ago. That's a lot longer, a lot further back. And in the fossilized stones called breccia, these stones are the result of flash floods, of course, washing mud and muck and debris from higher areas into lower areas, and they accumulate. And amongst the twigs and branches and bits of stone, mostly bits of stone, you find bones or you find dead things. And those become fossilized in time as things get compacted. And if you're patient enough and you dig into this stuff, you might find fossils. I think all the caves here are the result of the Vredefort asteroid. This very big rock the size of Joburg that smashed 175 kilometers south of here into the town of Vredefort. There was no town, luckily, but it's there now. And it's made a huge impact crater and created all these thousands of caves in this area. It created hills in the Witwatersrand. And I think somehow the sculpture park should have a sculptural element, rock, or a circle of rocks that reflect on the story of the cradle of humankind. Now, in the middle of the circle, I took one of the bigger rocks and cut it in half. I split it like a butterfly. It was like this and it went like that. And I put it there in the center so people can see what it looks like inside. It's mostly limestone. We had to have reasons for putting the rocks the way we did. And we put these as 3. And then we had this one by itself. But I like things to be natural and normal, and to remind us of a time immemorial, a time that we don't know about, but in some way we were there. In some way we had come from that. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee. And then the conflict between the Palestinians and Israel from 2003 to 2017, I think, intensified. And I was angry about that already. So I made this work, which has a lot of broken buildings and shrapnel that says USA, because they supply the military hardware by which the Palestinians are kept in check. When there's bombing of an area like in Palestine, very often large areas, the houses are just bombed. And bombing of the roads give you the black, and the bombing of buildings give you the concrete and bricks. These are bricks, and that's concrete bits and pieces that are broken. And the shrapnel is in this part. So we sort of suggest shrapnel by, when the scrapyard has these sharp pointed things. It is a poetic idea. So we just use metal that's slightly red. We found it red like that. Just anger and destruction. The President of the United States, the people who make the shrapnel, or the bombs, or the military hardware, he said that from now on, America recognizes Jerusalem as the official capital of Israel. And it created a huge furore. And I thought, I'm spot on. At that time, they were arguing endlessly in America about building a wall between America and Mexico. And Israel was, they had this enormous wall that runs from the north to the south, separating the Palestinians from the Israelis. So I think I'm spot on by building another wall with the word Jerusalem and the USA highlighted in shrapnel. And maybe one day I will break it down once the conflict is resolved. And from where I was walking, it's very dramatic, this facets, like a diamond or ruby or some precious stone that's been cut into different faces. The rock had some features in it that suggested we must make the angles. You try to read the rock when you see it in the quarry. When we found it, it had a hole there was a hole here somewhere. Somebody had drilled there and there was just a hole. So we decided to see what would happen if we split it. It could have split anyway, and it split very nicely. It split perfectly across the rock. And the rock worked with us very well. From the beginning, this rock told us what to do. It was like, it became very human, became very worked upon, a friend of the human species, this rock. Story goes to my third year class that I take out into the Karoo for land art exercises. But I asked them about the land. We tend to think of the earth as a mother. What do they think? Yes, the earth supports us. It supplies us with what we eat, the things that we use. So it's a mother figure. So I said to them, it's time maybe the earth should say something. You go and talk to each other and come back and tell me if we gave the earth a chance to speak 3, 4, 5 words, not much, just once, to say something to us. Go and think, what do you think the earth would say to us? So all of them went off and I saw them again. What did you decide? They all talked and they all looked very strange and start looking at each other. And they said this, the earth says, fuck off. Okay, it sounds reasonable. I think that you might be right. I think the earth has had enough from us. I think we've abused her quite extensively. So we can't make an artwork that says fuck off, because it goes in the school syllabus and they certainly won't have fuck off as part of the learning plan. Let's think of something equally strong but maybe without the word fuck. So they said piss off, piss off. And we had a mathematician mapping out 10-meter letters, big letters, and we fill these letters with fuel, with some materials that can burn. And then one night my students came and they helped to stack it all up, and the signal was given and this thing caught fire very quickly. And so we made a film of this thing that's burning that says piss off. I have a few slogans, I guess they're called bumper sticker things, that are very, they have to do with knowing. So I've made several t-shirts with the word know as the key word. And in front of the t-shirt you might have I know you know, and on the back of the t-shirt it says you know I know. So play with the word know often. For the intelligent people of the world, I would like to tell them that they never know. They're not as clever as they think. There's a whole lot more for them to know. They never know. But it's also a thing you say when you're hopeful. You hope to win the lottery. So you have to buy a ticket because you never know. You might win. And all things that are hopeful, you say this thing. And so on and so on. It's a sign of hope, but it's also a statement to say, don't think you know everything. And there's even till the end of time, you don't stand a chance of knowing. You'll never know. It's not for you. It cuts too much in all directions, and it should apply to everyone in a good and a bad way. I like ambiguity. I like things not to be straightforward, and this certainly isn't straightforward. And this is just quiet. It's come to rest, unassuming, I guess. And I felt very proud of it, because it wasn't shouting at anyone, it wasn't declaring any earth-shattering truth. It was just quietly going in all directions, and you could read into it whatever you liked.